The tribal way of life. There were many tribal groups under the British rule. Some of them were the Mundas, Santhals and Oraons in the Chotanagpur region, the Baigas, Gonds and Khonds in central India, and the Khasis and the Nagas in the northeast. Let us learn about their way of life under the British rule. The tribal societies did not follow the caste rules laid down by the Brahmins. There was more equality among them. Land was owned by the whole tribe. They had a distinct culture of their own and wanted no one to interfere in it. Each tribal group had its own customs, rituals, and beliefs. The tribals were engaged in different activities. The tribals living in central India and the northeast generally practiced shifting cultivation. It is also known as jhum cultivation or slash and burn cultivation. The tribals selected a patch of land and cleared it by cutting down the trees and burning them. Then they cultivated that land for some years. When the yield from the land decreased, they abandoned it and moved to a new area. The tribals were dependent on the forest for all their needs. Most of them lived by hunting and gathering forest produce. They collected fruits, roots, honey, and medicinal herbs from the forest. Some form of barter also existed. Some tribal groups exchanged milk, milk products, and wool for rice and other grains. When a forest was no longer able to supply their needs, they generally moved to another forest. So they were essentially people of the forest. Some tribal groups lived by herding and rearing animals. They were dependent on their herds of sheep and cattle. Most of the tribal people were nomads. They moved about with their animals. When the supply of food for these animals got exhausted in an area, they moved to another area. With time, many tribals settled down permanently at one place. They began to cultivate crops on fields near their houses. In the 19th century, the Mundas and the Santhals took to settled agriculture in a big way. The tribals were a very close-knit community. However, their isolation came to an end with the British rule, which led to tribal revolts.